So I know I've been like kind of like negative lately in a lot of my videos. You know, I'm talking about the problem with this archetype, the problem with this, the problem with that. But, you know, I kind of want to change that a bit. You know, I want to talk about something I think is both the best archetype in terms of just meta wise, but also I think in terms of like just like design in general. And that is follow-up. I think the follow-up is the best archetype in Starro for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I think that it is by far the most fleshed out archetype. Like, there are so many follow-up characters that you can use. Now, obviously, not all of them are equal in terms of power, right? Like, the best one right now is probably, like, Fei Xiao. Like, Fei Xiao is probably, without a doubt, the best one. But, you know, that isn't the only way that you can play follow-up, right? Like, there's, like, different, like, IPC teams, you know, with, Ratio or Jade and Herta. There is, counter teams with Clara and Yunli. Or even like Himiko and Herta for Pure Fiction, it was basically still to this day like one of the best combinations for that mode. Now, like I said, most of the characters are better than others. Like Ratio has kind of fallen out of favor now that Fei Xiao exists, but it's not like he's bad at all. It's just that like Fei Xiao is just better. You know what I mean? Like it definitely feels like follow-up isn't as restrictive as something like Break feels, you know? Like, obviously, you know, there is more optimal characters than not. Like, if you don't have Robin, you're definitely going to, like, feel it. But it doesn't feel as detrimental as if you didn't have, like, Ron May or Harmony Trailblazer, you know what I mean? Or even, like, Fugue now. But, like, yeah, it feels like you have more options if you don't have those characters. Especially since a lot of the follow-up characters, you know, are like crit based or like attack based, and a lot more characters give crit and attack than give break. So that like that's obviously is already more points to them. It's just easier to, you know, make a team. Like, you know, even if you don't have like, you know, like I said, even if you don't have Robin, you can still use other Harmony characters, and if it won't be like necessarily as good, it'll still be like decent, you know. Obviously, you know, besides it being, like, I think, probably the most fleshed out archetype, I think the follow-up is also just the strongest mechanic, just because of how Starrail is built. Like, while something like, maybe like an Acheron team, or like a Firefly team, might have more, like big burst damage, I think that follow-up has just more, in general, like, consistent damage. Like, even when, you know, it's not your character's turn, you can still just be constantly doing damage. Like, let's use the Fei Xiao team as an example. Like, you have, you know, like, Fei Xiao, March, Aventurine, and Robin. This team gets so many actions, it feels kind of disgusting, I'm not gonna lie. Like, like, you get 4 just from using Fei Xiao's skill while March is, like, connected to her. March also gets her advance forward as well from her passive. Aventurine gets free hits as well. And then Robin's ult lets you just go again, and then Fei Xiao's ult, you can get it just multiple times. And it is absolutely just disgusting. And even like Fei Xiao's ult does so much damage. If you have like a high amount of crit, it is insane. And, you know, getting more actions means you can get more Fei Xiao ults, which means you can get more actions, and, you know, it keeps going. Obviously, you know, there are some more archetypes that have, like, bigger hits, like, you know, like, some, like, Yunli is more about, like, doing, like, big hits than about doing, but it still has, like, that, like, smaller hits in there just because she has the smaller version of counter, and even, like, Clara is more about doing, like, just consistent hits, just getting hit all the time, especially because of how fast the enemies are getting now. Like, if you've played against Tula, you know exactly what I mean. Like, having follow-up there is so useful just because of how many actions he gets and how fast he is. It's kind of insane. So yeah, I definitely feel like follow-up does just, like, feels the best to use, both in terms of, like, a power standpoint and in terms of just a freedom of team building and what you can have access to, like, thing. Obviously, I don't know how long that's going to last, since 3.0 is coming out, and, you know, Remembrance is going to be a thing, which is obviously, you know, going to be the next big archetype. However, you know, I'm not entirely sad about that, because I feel like Remembrance might have a chance to be just as good as follow-up. But I'm probably gonna make a whole other video about Remembrance. But yeah, what do you guys think about follow-up? Do you think that break is better than follow-up? Do you agree with my points? If yes, if no, leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next one.